Good morning. I feel like I'm live every other day. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Good afternoon. Good evening. Okay, where are all my peeps? There we are. Good morning, Beth. Such a pretty day. I can't even believe it's the last day of April. I love April. But we're going to be heading to May. And I love May. How is everybody? Okay, it's just 10 o'clock. So, hi, Suzanne. Happy evening. You guys, this is going to be so much fun today. I'm so excited what I have to share with you. Hi, Monta. Oh, Molly. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I got all the doors open. Hi, Terry. Hello, hello. You guys, wait till you see what I'm going to show you. It's something from 19 years ago. It's such a great story, and I don't think I've shared the full story with you guys, so we're going to have some fun today. Hello, Julie. So good to see everybody. Yeah, I've been going live a lot. This week, though, coming up, I don't think I'll be live on Instagram. I'm going to San Francisco for 2 days, and then I'll be live next Saturday here. And you guys, then I leave. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm like counting down the days. 2 weeks from yesterday, I will be on a plane for a bazillion hours, and I'm so excited about that. I'm gonna bring all my travel supplies, paint, and sleep. All right, let's see, what time is it? Let me go check over here. Let me check. Okay, let me give you another minute or so. Make sure we're all, hi Kathy. Happy Saturday morning. It is gorgeous out. We are so lucky. This is a great time of year to come visit me because it's usually not foggy yet. When it starts to get warmer inland is when we get a lot of fog where I live because I'm right by the water. So I would say April and May are beautiful times here, and then September, October, and November are amazing. It's kind of like you wouldn't think like that, but June, July, August, not so much. That's when I like to go to Buffalo, where it's nice and sunny and warm. So hello. Okay, good. All right, you guys. Let me show you the flowers. I picked these this morning. Wait till you see them. Ooh, aren't they beautiful? Okay, these are all but these 2 tulips. This is from my girlfriend for my birthday last week. She gave me a bunch of tulips from Trader Joe's, so I put them in it. But all of these are from my garden, so I just want to share them with you. So this is that gigantic, okay, we talked about this one time. It's a type of a poppy. It's a like 20, I'm looking out my window. It's like 20 feet by 20 feet. It's so big. And they're all these gorgeous, it's kind of a nickname of a sunny side up flower, which it's not really, but aren't they beautiful? And then my first pincushion scabiosas, which such a weird name, but aren't they incredible? So these just came out, and this is a perennial. So these just grow back on their own. And one of them made it and one didn't. I have to figure out what to do about that. But these they came back on their own. They're so pretty. And then even though it's illegal to pick these, it's not when you grow them. So these are California poppies, and it's gonna come out later. It's closed in the morning, and then by later on it will come out, and they're such a beautiful color. Let's see what else. These are called hot lips. This is a salvia, which is cute. It's like a huge big bush. And then I have my first roses that the deer never got last month. So they're all starting to get little buds on them. So this is a beautiful rose. Doesn't smell though. That's the only bummer about that one. And then this is a succulent flower. How cool is that color? Aren't they gorgeous? And sweet peas. Oh yeah, my favorite, especially for April. So there is such a pretty bouquet and some jasmine. So this is just such a beautiful time for, and I know it's, you guys, I know like everybody in May, well, almost all of us, May, will start to see the most beautiful flowers coming up. So I hope you spend some time outside and do a little sketching and look at all the shapes because they're so inspirational, and pick a little bouquet. So I just put those together, and then you don't need to go buy some, you just go grab them. Ask your neighbors. Okay, so here's what I want to talk about today. I'm just so excited about later, my little story for you. I want to talk about the class that's launching on Monday because I had some questions, but I also want you guys to write this date down. On Thursday is my birthday sale. It's my belated birthday sale because I was just too busy to get it all figured out. But that's gonna start on Thursday, and it's gonna go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And what I thought I would do is next Saturday in the live, because I know so many of you guys have been with me from the beginning and have purchased all of the classes already, which I love you for. But for anybody who hasn't, I thought I would just kind of walk you through each class briefly. And it's not going to be like a 2-hour live, but just walk you through the piece and why I did it and what's in the class, just in case you're kind of thinking about if you want to take it or if it's right for you. And then for those of you who have taken it, you may want to gift it to somebody, but they're going to all be 40% off for 5 days. So it's a great deal. And then the only other time I would do that would be at the holiday time around, I think it's like right after Thanksgiving, early December. So I like to do those 2 sales. And the other thing I like to do, which you guys will be so happy about, is that I don't like to do a promo code because it ends up being like more work for me when it doesn't work for people or they don't know where it is. So I automatically will reduce all the prices so you don't have to worry about what the code is, okay? And I'll talk more about that on Saturday, but check my social, and I'll also post in here about it so you can see it. There's a question I want to make sure we all have your classes. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I know for you guys who have all my classes, you'll be like so bored, but it'd be kind of fun to go down memory lane on some of them. And for anybody who is thinking about Colorful Joy, it is coming to my site in June. I'm so excited, and it will go on sale when it gets here. So hold out for that one. That one is a class that's been on Jean Oliver's site for 2 years. I can't even believe it. And then after 2 years, the artists who do classes with Jean get their classes back, and then they can have them on their site. So that's how you work. Sometimes when you want to create classes and you don't have a platform to create them on your own, a lot of artists will go through another person and do their classes that way. So Jean's like the host, and that's what that's all about. So anyway, okay. All right. So let me tell you real quick about the course that's coming on Monday, which I know, thanks Terry, which I know that a bunch of you guys have signed up for too, and it's gonna be amazing. But for those who are wondering if it's right for you, I just wanted to give you like the down low on it so you can kind of think about whether it is or not. So the class is structured in 10 basic places, modules. There's 10 modules of where you could go sell your art, whether you want to start small, go big, it doesn't really matter, but it's everything from an art market to wholesale to licensing to galleries to an Etsy shop to selling organically on Facebook like I am right now selling to you, okay? So the same kind of thing. So there's 10 modules, and they're not done in an order where you have to do one to the next to the next. It can be really any order you want, and you pick the ones that you're interested in, and then maybe you do that one and you try to sell in that one, and then maybe later down the road you do the next chapter. It's totally up to you. Each module has, I think almost everyone, but maybe one, has a workbook. So these are backwards, but I made these little workbooks. It's not like a workbook where you actually have to do homework. It's just got a lot of written information and tips and just ideas and things that I did. And then on the back, there's like a note section. And so each one has that as a PDF. So you can either print it out or you could just read it online. That's totally up to you. Most of the information is also covered in videos. Some of the modules have videos, some of them don't. The ones that have a lot of information, I try to do videos for those. And and then each one has a whole bunch of resource links. And so I was trying to count this morning, and I would say, I mean, there's got to be over 100 resource links broken down. And even in the art markets, there's over 70 tips that I give you because I've done it for so many years, and I've had a lot of failures and a lot of successes, and I really wanted to share that with you. So if you're thinking about, is it for me? You want to just ask yourself this question. Am I ready to start selling something that I've created? Do you want to make a little money on the side doing something that you love to do? So that's a good way to see if you're ready for this class, or if you even want to take this class. There are 3 bonuses in the class that are pretty awesome. One of them is pricing. So a lot of us really have a hard time figuring out how to price your work. And I give you a bunch of suggestions, and I even give you the pricing model that I use. And that's in a workbook like this. And then I have a video, 2 videos on how I ship and wrap up my orders. So you'll see like everything I use, from the kind of personal touches to how I pack it up. So that's also a bonus. But you guys, here's the bonus that is the best for anybody thinking about, do I want to make some money? Would I like to have a little side business? Do I need some money to pay for all my art supplies? Do I need some money to buy beautiful things? There's 2 live Zoom sessions. They're going to be in June. The dates are in the classroom. They're going to be in June so that you have time to sort of digest the class, and you could ask any questions on the modules, but they're also going to be an opportunity to do some coaching. So there's 2 of them in June. They are going to be available so that people who aren't on Facebook don't have to deal with, I can't see it because I'm on Facebook. So Zooms are great that way. But if you have a question about anything, even if it's not related to those 10 places, for instance, how do I get started with marketing? Should I start an email list? How do I do a Facebook Live? I can cover that in those 2 Zoom sessions. So that is worth the price of the class. So the class right now is $97, and it's going to go full price on Monday. So there's 2 days left. All right, so you guys had some questions on that. I kind of wanted to cover the sort of basic parts of that class. I loved creating it. It has taken me a long time, but it is so good. It's so juicy. And then the other day I was thinking about what's next, so I'm going to Italy, as I'm sure most of you guys know. I've been chatting about that. And then when I come back, I have this idea for a class that I'm so excited about. It's the one raw canvas. So I wanted to do a class on raw canvas. And then what I thought would be really cool, because you guys have asked so many questions about printing things, is that part of the class will be that we're going to take our raw canvas and we're actually going to print it into the silk scarves. Okay, how cool is that? So we'll do a whole Zoom, and I'll show you exactly how I do these. So that way you guys can do them, and it'll be perfect time for the gift giving. So, okay, so there's lots going on. I have a bazillion ideas. When you guys start thinking of ideas and you're open to it, then all of a sudden like a bazillion more happen. So maybe it's good I'm going on like a 16-hour flight or something so that I can, get them all written down. So, all right. So before I go on with my fun story about travel, does anybody have any questions on the class coming up, or also on the sale coming up? So I'll just wait a minute to see if you guys have any questions. Okay, let me know. Yeah, Ellie, you are welcome. Oh yeah. I'll just wait one more minute. Hope you guys are having a fabulous week. Okay. You guys can always message me. I'll be around. I'm just putting my last minute touches on everything. For those who signed up, it'll be ready on Monday. All you have to do is just log in, but I'll also send a newsletter to say, hey, we're live, but you know, my goal is, and all my European friends know this, it's usually live the night before. Oh, you know what I do want to tell you guys, because this is a question that came up. Some people were wondering, is the course something they'd want to do if they were in a different country, which is a great question. So I spent some time yesterday and I just kind of like researched a little bit. And so for instance, if you are in Canada, there is Amazon Handmade in Canada, there's Amazon Etsy, there's the social media stuff, and of course like art markets and open studios are available in any country. So just check your country and see, you know, as far as there could be some really good information in some of the modules that could relate to a platform in another country. But I would say that I think almost every single module for sure was available in Northern America. There might be Facebook and Instagram may not have the checkout available out of the States, but I have to say that the way that I love to sell on Facebook and Instagram is not using their checkout, but it's actually doing it organically like I am doing today. And so that's also in the module too. So just let me know if you have any other questions about that. Okay, you guys? All right, so let's get going. Enough chit chat on that. All right, so I'm gonna go down memory lane for a minute, and there's a reason that I'm tying this all together, because the reason is it's like people are gonna start traveling again, and it's like, what kind of art supplies should I take on my trip? What kind of journals should I make, and all that good stuff. So Jill had asked me, like, what am I taking on my trip? And then I thought, the last time I went to Europe was 18 years ago. I went 18 and 19 years ago. No, 20 and 19 years ago. So I went 2 years in a row, and I worked at Discovery Channel at the time, and I was able to get a month off at a time. I don't think you could do that these days. I don't know. I convinced my boss I needed a month off, okay? So I took a month off in 2001, and I took a month off in 2002, all right? And so I was really excited the first time I set up this trip. So I used to live in England and Ireland when I was little, and I've been back with my mom, and I've been back and did some stuff and saw my grandma and all of that kind of things. And then I think I went by myself when I was just out of college. But these were two kind of very big trips where I was actually going around to maybe 4 or 5 different countries at once. So that was my like 1 month. I planned it. I worked really hard. I wasn't like doing the art that I'm doing today, and I wasn't spending a ton of time doing art, but I love to journal, and I love to sort of just doodle around and make sketches. So I created these sketchbooks. So in 2001, my trip was booked, and I'm gonna turn the camera down so you're gonna see some of these, but I just want to show you. My trip was booked, and I made these handmade. Look at you guys. They're so clunky. I made these handmade journals, and this I think was like, I don't know, it's like hard cardboard, and then I cut watercolor paper and I made this little book. But I left for my trip on September 7th, 2001, and it was my mom's birthday. She's September 7th, and I went till October 1st. And as everybody knows, 2001 was when 9/11 happened. And so I was flying over to England to stay the first week with my cousins, and who I'm going to visit in 2 weeks. I can't even believe it. I haven't seen them in like 20 years. But I was staying with my cousins, and my really good friend from Wyoming was flying to see me and meet me in Prague. That was our sort of idea. And we were going to stay in Prague, and then we were going to Italy and somewhere else. I can't remember. But we were doing like this, like all around. Paris was another. Yeah, Paris was the other one. And then I was going to leave Paris and fly home. I had it all set. And then 9/11 happened, which was, all the things, just horrible tragedy. And I was there with my cousin Jackie, and I remember exactly where we were. We had just gone to Buckingham Palace. We did like a tour of Buckingham Palace, and we went into London, and we were eating sushi, and it was noonish. Because it was 2 p.m. because it was 9 o'clock in New York, and it was 5 hours later in London, and we walked out the door and we were right next to a pub, and it had just happened, and we saw everything as everybody else in the world saw it. So the next 3 weeks, I had to do my trip by myself, and because my girlfriend, obviously, nobody was able to fly anywhere out of the States, and she could not come. So I ended up spending the next 3 weeks by myself, and it was like the most incredible and terrifying and learning for me. I was, let's say 20 years ago, I was 30 something. I was 30 something, and I was just doing it on my own. And luckily, for the first week or so, or the first few days after 9/11, I was in the care of my amazing family who really took care of me. And I have some wonderful memories of them taking me down to the coast in Dorsey. I think it was Dorsey, or Dorset. I have it somewhere in my journal. And just taking hikes on the headlands. And I think of Karen, who's in our group, Dempster, who does that all. She's probably there this weekend. And you just sort of melt away all of the stress. Dorset, yes, thank you, Suzanne. And just having like just this really bittersweet moments. And then I left England and was meeting up with my relatives at the end of my trip in Paris. So I went to Prague and then Italy. And when I was in Prague, it was, I'll never forget it, and I might have talked about this a little bit on the lives, but when I walked into the hotel where I was staying, the man behind the counter came around literally and hugged me and was so sad and affected, and it was just like this most beautiful moment. I mean, we don't speak the same language. I mean, of course he spoke a little bit of English because he's in a hotel, but he really just, held me and hugged me and was so sorry. And all of Prague was full of flowers for all of the memorials, for all of the people who had passed on 9/11, and because it was only like 9/15, I think, it was only like maybe 4 days later, 5 days later. And that happened the whole entire time. Every single country I went to was so generous, was so loving, and knew that I was American, and just was extremely tender. And even though I was very removed from what was happening, because there wasn't really cell phones back there, and there wasn't any of that stuff that I could see, I felt extremely loved, but yet very alone. And so a lot of those emotions went into my journal that I'm going to show you. And then, believe it or not, I got to go and do the whole thing again the following year. So somehow I had the travel bug. I was like not in a relationship. I was no children. And the following year, I went to Spain, Rome, Spain, and I think there was another, I can't remember. There was, and shoot, I'm trying to think. Anyway, there was a few other places, and we'll see it in the book. But this is where the really good story comes from, and I'm going to share it with you, show you what I'm talking about. Is I had spent a few weeks by myself traveling, and then I was meeting up with my dad and his wife Carol and my stepbrother and stepsister and my little sister Susanna, and we were all meeting in Spain. And on our very almost last day, we were in, I want to say it's Magala. No, that's not right. It's down by the coast, and you can take a little ferry over to Morocco. Magala, you know, I'm so bad in pronouncing diddly, okay? But anyway, we all met there, and we were staying with some really good family friends. Magala, thank you, Terry. And we were spending time with our really, really good friends. So my dad parked the car at this one place where we were eating. It was like a country, it was like a golf coursey thing, I think, and there was lots of construction going on and homes were being built. And I did not have my smart brain on that day, and neither did my sister. And I remember, and it's not my dad's fault, but he's like, oh, just leave everything in the car. And so, of course I did. Don't ever do that. We had a really nice lunch, and we came back, and the windows were smashed in, and everything was stolen. So, it was a little bit of a nightmare for the next 4 or 5 days because it was also a Spanish holiday, and we couldn't get anywhere. I was a UK citizen. I still am, and my passport was stolen. Everything was taken, but more importantly, what really to me was that all my journals were taken, my art supplies were taken, my jewelry was taken, my keys were taken. All of the things that I loved dearly, you know, and treasured was gone. And one thing that was taken that is hard to replace, because back in that day, there was a regular camera, there wasn't a cell phone, was I spent 3 days in Cinque Terre, and I did the whole, what do you call it? Like you go, there's like five towns, and you can hike all of them, and they all connect, and they're if you guys Google it, they're like the most beautiful, magical place. They're amazing. The view is incredible. They're beautiful. And I had spent like 2 days in Santa Margarita, and I had spent some time with these people. I mean, I was by myself again at this point. I was not with my dad. I met him at the end of the trip, but I did 3 days in Cinque Terre. I had the most amazing photos that I thought were amazing. Like, I really set up my camera, and that was all stolen. I think I had about 10 rolls of film that was stolen. Okay, so fast forward, I come home. It took me a few extra days because everything was taken, my passport, my green card. It was a little bit of a nightmare. And here's the kicker. It was a year after 9/11, so they were super strict. It wasn't like, oh, don't worry, go on in. I mean, it was like, you know, things changed big time after 9/11. So traveling and losing all of your identity sucked. And we didn't speak Spanish, so we didn't really have any idea what was going on. But what I wanted to tell you was, and I'm going to show you, and I'm so excited. I think it was 2 months later, 2 months go by, and I get a letter. And somebody found my bag of my journal, my paints, my jewelry, my keys, not my film, and it had been thrown in a construction site. Not my ID. They must have kept that. But I didn't care. And I want to show you the whole everything because it's so beautiful. And I was thinking about the family today, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun if I'm going to send them something? I don't know if they'll be still there, but it's been that long. All right, so hold on. I'm going to flip us around. You might see my cat, and I'm going to show you guys some really fun little stuff. All right, hold on. Let's see. Okay. Another gorgeous day. Hi, Basil. Do you see her right there? She's like, what can I eat? What can I go eat? All right. So, all right. So I made these 2 books. Let me just get this straight. I made these 2 books, and This one was the first one, all right? And then I'm going to show you a little bit of my second one and then the letters, which are really cool. And then we're going to talk about what I'm taking with me to travel. All right. So I made these books, and they're kind of, you know, like I said, they're on, let me just raise it a little bit. They're on hard board, but when you're on a plane, it's kind of nice because they are so hard, but look at these gigantic rings. They're so weird to turn. So of course now I'm going to just, you know, either make one or just have one with me. Like I have a bunch that I bought. So this actually was not from my Europe trip. This was from Half Moon Bay, which is between San Francisco and Santa Cruz. I thought that was so pretty. I don't know why it's in this journal, but it is. So let me show you some of the drawings that I did, just so you can see like how sketchy and easy it is to take with you. And this is the palette I had, and I think I showed this like last week in one of my lives. So this is what I took with me when I went on both trips. This came with me on both trips. And I obviously had a little paintbrush, but nowadays, they didn't have this back then, but nowadays too, you can even have your water in one of these brushes. So I'll probably take one of these on my flight, but then also just have a few brushes and have a little thing of water. So I remember going to Ann and Graham's. Ann and Graham are right here, and Ann's often on our lives. So my mom, Nanny, Heather, and Ann are cousins, and their moms, so my grandmother and Jackie, who I'm going to be visiting's grandmother, are sisters. So the two sisters live next door to each other in London, and they had these little girls, Ann and my mom. So Ann and my mom are cousins, and I have no idea what I am. I think I'm maybe like second cousin. I have no idea. This is Graham, and this is Ann, and this is us in Paris 20 years ago. And we had the best time, and they are amazing, and I love them dearly. And I'm so excited because I will see them at the end of my trip. After Italy, I'm going to London, and I'll be able to see these guys. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. It was so fun. But Ann is an amazing gardener, like big time, won awards. She is incredible, you know, and you're in England and you have all those beautiful gardens. And so this was just, it says Ann's garden. This is my mom's birthday. It's when I flew in, 5 o'clock. And she had, you know, this little water pond and her sweet sculpture and lots of terracotta pots. So when you're doing sketches and when you travel, and I mentioned this before, it's like your whole memory comes flooding back to a time, how you felt even, and what it looked like without having to see all the details. That's why I love doing these types of sketches that I can kind of see. So she must have had a little bench and just beautiful green. Everything was lush green. This was a door, and in England, I totally remember this when I lived there too. There were a lot of doors, a lot of front doors have glass in them, and in America, it's a lot more, I think, just probably because of the weather and the snow and whatever. So there's a lot more wooden doors, but in England, there was a lot of glass. And then this was really fun too. She had a lot of her washing and her drying was on the line. And so she had, I thought this was so cute. This is for the clothes, whatever, the clothespins were in this cute little apron. And I think her mom made that apron. I'll have to ask her. And if Ann's on there, she'll have to let us, if Ann's on here or my mom's on here, they'll have to let us know. But I thought that was really cute. And then that's all I have of England. I don't have tons. Like I said, I wasn't really into painting a ton. I have a feeling that I will be doing a lot more art on this trip because art is such a big part of my life. And when I was traveling, it was more like I was doing a lot of writing and sightseeing. So this is in Prague. I had a really nice room, like chandeliers. And I don't even know, look, as I wrote, I was at Top Ambassador is beautiful. Huge feather pillows and duvet covers, chandelier, jacuzzi, shower, mirrors. Hot bar for towels, vanity, very plush. $169 a night. And remember, I'm like by myself 20 years ago. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what this is from. And I wish, and I will do these again, but when I travel, is just write a little note in the corner, like the date and where it's from. A lot of places have beautiful windows, especially in Italy. And I love all of like the old windows and the paint and the different colors. This could be Venice with the little bridge here. Did I ever tell you guys the story about Venice? How I have a painting supposedly hanging up there because of an art show I won when I was 7. I don't know if I told you guys that story, but it's so funny. I'm always on the lookout. This might be one of my favorite paintings, and this was in Venice. And, or was this Rome? Hold on. I can tell. No, this was Venice. And it was this beautiful green building and like flowers and just all of the details. And I remember sitting, eating at a restaurant. And of course I was by myself and I was sitting eating at a restaurant. And it's really nice for me because I was able to enjoy my lunch and not feel embarrassed. You know, you got to remember, this was my first time I was by myself because I had no choice. And I would eat and I would drink a glass of wine and I would get my little paints out and I would right next to my big bowl of spaghetti and I would just paint for like an hour and a half. And it was so much fun. And I really was at first maybe a crutch because it was something for me to do instead of just staring at people. But it is a really fun thing to have, even if it's smaller. Like I wanted to show you, like I probably will get another one of these small ones, but this is moleskin. And this is just things that we've been working on some of our lives, but you don't have to have this like huge, whatever, this I think is probably like 8 inches by 4 or 5 inches across. You can grab a little tiny guy, and these are from moleskin, and it's watercolor paper. You just want to make sure you have watercolor paper. The only thing is it is cold press, and I looked yesterday, they don't sell hot press, but it's okay. Unless if anybody knows really good quality hot press, I might take this cold press, a new one, and then fill this journal with hot press paper. So anyway, this might be one of my favorites that I did on this trip. And then this is just really rough sketching, all right? So this is like when I talked about in my 3-day challenge is that you may only have a few minutes and maybe you're standing in line to get onto the gondola, you know? So you grab your pen, your pencil, marker, like one of these. And this is when you do like really quick sketching. And that's what this was. And this paper is thinner too. So this guy is going really fast. And then I don't think there's too much else. Oh, I do have some more sketches. Hold on. Okay, so this again these are quick, really rough. This it's not obviously in order. This was on 9/14, and this is when Anne and Graham took me down to Swanage. And it's a beautiful place. This was the ocean and little tiny boats and just really beautiful. Whoopsie, hold on. And it's just with a pen, and it's really simple. But it was something I remember doing and just really loving. Just sitting there drawing it. This was at a restaurant. Looks like I took a siesta after it. And just like the peeling of the paint and the old, the history in these buildings, living in the States, you guys who are in Europe, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But being back in the States, things are so new compared to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds old buildings, and they all have such beautiful details. It's probably why I can't take my kids on a trip like this, because I would be like staring at this building for about 15 minutes. And they'd be like, Mom, let's go, please. Even my husband would like be not excited about me doing that. Okay, then at the back of my books, I would do all my writing, and I have tons of writing that I did. And sometimes I would do my like top 3 top things. This was like all my little, every day I would write what I would spend my money on. But there was one thing in here that I had to show you. I'll look for it, where I had what the top things that people were wearing in Italy at the time. It was hysterical. Okay, so then this one was my year, the next year. So I did I must have really liked this journal because I made another one. And, you know, if I was sitting there thinking about it, I would write like little tiny things. Like this was Cinque Terre, beautiful, breathtaking, hard to describe, great height, France. Beth took tons of photos. That is so funny. I didn't even notice. Took tons of photos. Were all stolen, but who knew back then? It was just a way to kind of have everything down on here. And so I did all my like writing up front, but then I want to show you some of these sketches because they're fun. So this is Rome. So this second trip, I didn't do the same places. So this was right away when I got there. I was right in the heart of Rome, and I fell in love with Rome. Some people have a love-hate relationship with Rome. They think it's too busy or it's too touristy. I absolutely loved every single minute I was in Rome. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. And I just, and maybe it was because I was by myself, I just loved it so much. It was so beautiful. And I loved getting up really early and watching everybody get their markets together. I think I was, let's see, when was I there? Oh, I went at the same time. There's a reason that I went in September, October. And I think it was because when I worked at Discovery Channel, I worked for all the retail divisions, and it was our break before holiday started. It was our break before we started a very hard couple months of holiday. So that was sort of the time. Plus, September's always like non-touristy time, so that works. So this is just one of the plazas, and a lot of people would like hang out in the center and just sit, and so much great sightseeing. So this was a box window in Rome that was bright red. Like these are wooden slats. And then this is other shutters. Just loved it. View from the terrace. So this must be Lake Como. So then what was so awesome is I went to Lake Como. This is not in order either. I went to Lake Como, and that's where I'm going again. So that's where I'm going in 2 weeks. So this was where the markets got together, and it's Campo de Fierro. You know me, can't pronounce that, but it's where they all set up, and I just sat in that middle and just watched them all just walk and set, and all of the fruit and vegetables and people and the bartering, and it was just so much fun. All right, so I had different types of paper in here. I clearly did not use it all. Okay, so then I started with this same thing. And I'm getting to the story of the letter. All right, so this is the Arch of St Augustine, and it was just like, you know, nice and simple. There's some sculpture. I think this is when I went to Florence. I love Italy. Italy and Hawaii are my 2 favorite places, I think. They couldn't be farther apart. This was just an outline I was doing. Maybe I did, like if you were really busy and you didn't have you don't have time to sit down and do watercolor. Your family's going, let's go. Well, maybe you could do this, which is to just outline it in pencil. Okay, remember there was no digital, cell phones for me to check. Now you could even take a photo of it and redo it, but there was nothing. There was just your memory. There's something really sweet about that too. This one I really loved. There's a boat here. So I wish I would have written down exactly where this was. I'd have to get back into my memory of that. Just really simple, beautiful, beautiful house and buildings and just, oh, it's Venice. Venice. I think Venice is the one place that I go each time. So I went to Venice in 2001 and I went again in 2002. It's just a special place for me. And then this one was really fun. I really like this. Would be cute, like in a little frame. That was the gondolas and the buildings. Kathy, you think I should do that? Let's see what happens when I come back from Italy. This one is the view after the sunset. It must have been the most beautiful purples and gorgeous. This is hotel. That's that one other sketch I had. Then I did another one. Just the tall, skinny shape of these, buildings with all the green and the ivy and the blue shutters. Oh my gosh, so fun. All right, what else do I have? Just a couple more. I think I remember this. This was a guy, in Venice, they would do, like, musicians would come out to the square and play. And I remember there was a really hot guy. And I remember, like, going back every night to check him out. All right, that's upside down. And that might be, there's a couple others. Just, again, outline sketch. Hi, Scout. Come on in. Come on in. Come on. She won't get you. And then, like, here's something that these are not mine. I don't know whose these are, but I love how sweet and simple they are. And they were a little inspiration for me to do my sketches this way. Maybe I'll take this with me and put it in my notebooks. All right, so here's the awesome story. Okay, so there's the book. Then here's the paints. And I had jewelry, nothing really super fancy. Oh, let me show you one other thing first. You guys, after 9/11, when I did my trip by myself, when I was in Lake Como, it seriously just changed my whole perspective on everything. But I was on a ferry by myself. There was no other passengers at all. And I was on a ferry from one of the islands on Lake Como to another island, like from one place to another place. And the ferry driver let me drive the ferry. Look, I'm driving the ferry right there. Look how happy I was. That was just like one of the highlights of my trip. So this is Lake Como. This is me and just enjoying the precious life, even though there was this horrible tragedy that had happened. There was definitely some bright spots and just the goodness and kindness of people, that recognize that you have been through this hard time and you're alone and you're by yourself, and just how they just reach out. And I'll never forget this. And my mom always looked at this photo and she said, "I've never seen you look so happy." I think I was happy. I wasn't crashing the thing. Okay, so I have my paints. I have this book and it's stolen. Okay, bye-bye, goes. And I then was living in San Francisco. I had just met my husband at the time. Not at the time. I just met my husband, Mark, then at that time. Yes, in San Francisco. And this is what's so crazy, Molly. Ready? In this book and my paints and my ID was my business card to Discovery Channel where I worked. So let's see, when is the date on this? I think it's like November-ish time frame. Like I came back October 1. Or I came back October 15th, And so I have a feeling this might have been either in December or November. It doesn't really matter. It was like a month or so after. So this came back to me. This is my maiden name. This is Discovery Channel. This is where I worked. So I had a little business card that was inside my art journal. All right. And so in this, first, this is when they sent it back to me. But first came this. So somehow they also had my address in San Francisco because this is where I worked. And then I think I gave them this address to send it back. So this is, I can't figure out the date because everything's backwards. I think it was November 2nd or something. And this is their address. So I get this letter. And I remember I was going on a date with my husband, one of our first dates, and he spoke a tiny bit of Spanish. And I'm like, what does this say? What does this say? And my stepson, Elias, I just had him translate this to me because he's so good at Spanish. He's in the honors Spanish, and it says this. Okay, ready? I'm going to, this one basically says that they found an abandoned bag by the pool with watercolor. There was like a construction site with like a deep pool with watercolors and some personal things. The bag is in bad condition, but the things are in good condition. Keys, jewelry, and paints. If you send me your address, we can send it to you. P.S. Sorry, we don't speak English, from Malaga. And that's what this says. Okay, so I was like, oh my God, I was so excited. I thought I'd lost my journal. I was, I was actually also hoping, I think, that the Cinque Terre photos made it, but they didn't. But in this bag comes, this was in there, this was in there, all my jewelry, like I said, it wasn't that expensive. It was like little bracelets and stuff was in there. My keys, no ID, none of that stuff, because I had put in here I think if lost, here's my information. So I encourage you guys to do that. Like if you're ever in your books, do that. So in this came, all right, so I wrote him a check. I sent this money to him for 50 euros. I don't know how much it would be. And I sent him a letter. And this is what he writes back to me. He writes this back and this in the letter, okay? And this is what it says. It says, we received your letter and we enjoy making you happy sending your things back. This way we forget the last unpleasant few moments in Spain. We can't accept your money. It's not necessary, but thank you. The shipping was insignificant. You can save your money for another trip to Spain. We hope our country will offer you good travels and wonderful moments to paint with your watercolors. Your paintings have brought us joy and brought Italy home to us. We love art but don't understand it. The paintings seemed exquisite to us. Enjoy. A hug from the family. Merry Christmas. P.S. Pillar is 5 years old. Sent you a drawing. You guys, is that the sweetest, most amazing story? And it's just so touching. And I saved all of it. And I'm going to send them something. See if they're still there. They may not be there, but just be like, hey, remember? I know, I don't think I've ever sent you guys. I don't think I've ever talked about it or showed it to you. And it made me think of it because Jill had asked, like, what am I taking on my trip? And the very last time I went on a trip like this was when this happened, and with these paints. And it's just a very, very touching story. And then I also found this too, which is really awesome. Look, this is, if you have no time at all, you can sketch out little tiny sketches. That's probably, I was trying to think of that idea. Well, maybe, I don't know what this means. Maybe these are what my drawings, and then I don't even know what I did. Maybe I was trying to remember my drawings that were taken. I don't even know. They're like little cryptic thumbnails of what's inside the book. So I totally agree. I'm going to flip this around. Let's see what Basil's doing. Oh my God, look at her right now. Hold on, I'm going to flip this around. I 100% agree. I think that people are good and kind, and I know if any of us were walking and stumbled upon a bag with things in it, and you found an address in it, then we would do the same thing. I think that is, it for sure is, it's a story that touches me, and wouldn't it be awesome to go back to Spain and there and. Well, obviously we can't go travel everywhere, and it's the other side of the world practically from where I live, but I'm very, very excited, and I'm even more excited this time because I think I'll be able to paint so much more than I would have, because I think before I was doing more writing. I was also in a bad breakup the first year, so there was a lot of love, woe is me stories. And oh, I want to tell you one really cute thing about these guys too, and then I'm going to pick us our inspirational card. Okay, so Anne and Graham. Yeah, there will be a replay. Anne and Graham. I don't know about you guys, but have you ever felt like there's probably, like, for me, there's like 5, maybe 6 couples that, think about couples that like a man, a woman, 2 women, 2 men, it doesn't matter, but think about couples that that are so nice and kind and loving, and you just look at them and you're like, oh my gosh, they are like the most amazing couple. All right. So I was in a bad breakup. I wasn't planning to be broken up. I had planned to go on this trip and still have the man when I went back, but we had broken up before I left, and I was definitely heartbroken. But when I stayed with Anne and Graham, and I'm going to tell them when I see them, and I don't know if Anne's watching, but when I went on this trip, and it was during 9/11, and the lack of consideration from this ex that I had, or just anything, I don't even know if we were ex at the time, but whatever it was, being around Anne and Graham made me realize what I really want from a relationship. And they are so amazing together. They are still married. They are still in love with each other. And being around people like that will really just raise your spirits and raise everything. And so anyway, I just wanted to share that about those guys because they are incredible, and I'm really excited to see them. And Jackie is her daughter, and Jackie came to visit me a couple years ago, and we have a lot of fun. And so I'm going to be seeing her too. So anyway, so there's my little thing about the handful of couples. If you can be around them from time to time, it's good medicine. Okay, so I'm sure there was like 100 other little things I wanted to tell you, but I think for my trip, I'm going to bring a small moleskin, which I would, if you guys are planning on traveling, I would look into, because it's like easy, because I think it's also got a hard surface, so it's easy to paint on. And then I got this, shoot, I really wish I knew. I'm going to try and dig up the link, but this is definitely in a live from probably like last year. But this is a sketchbook that I bought on Etsy. And in it, you can take the paper out. So this is my sketchbook from when I went down last summer. When I went, you guys have seen this, when I went to Georgia and whatever places. And so I was thinking that I would make my own and get that, put paper in here, maybe the hot press that's nice and smooth, and then bring that little guy. And then my mom had got me for my birthday last year from Peg and All the Sendek, and in here is where I'm gonna have all my pens and pencils and all of that good stuff. So if you're thinking of traveling, you don't really need to really bring too much. I definitely wouldn't bring any acrylic paints or anything like that. I'm going to stick to watercolors, have a few brushes, sneak in some Neo 2s, a couple paint pens, and maybe of all of the supplies that I love, I would just bring, a couple. of each one in a couple of my colors that I love. Of course, turquoise and blue and Jackson's. What's Jackson, Suzanne? Tell me what that is. Oh, Jackson's maybe an art store. Okay, so let me pull one of our Gabrielle Bernstein cards. This one is the Spirit Junkie. This is the one that Suzanne gave me. I mean, Kathy gave me. Kathy, Suzanne, a huge art store. Rose, you're gonna have to watch the replay, which will be right after this. So, all right, so here, I'm pulling a card for us, you guys. Not even looking. Not even looking. I'm looking up. Okay, pull the top one. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Is anybody holding any grudges right now? You got any like grudges or something that's really troubling your heart? I can forgive people quickly, release my resentment, and set myself free. You guys, this is so good and important. Seriously, if anybody's holding on to grudges, let it go. It's not worth it. Your heart will be much more open and creative. I let all my grudges go. That's another day. That's another life. But I let all of mine go. I am free of that. So, all right, you guys. Mwah! I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember, if you have any questions on the new class, just email me or put it in the comments. I'll get back to you. And keep Thursday open, okay? Thursday is when you're gonna see the big birthday sale, the big belated. I was just looking at this. Bohong Academy watercolor journals are great. They make 100% cotton paper. I love their paper. Oh, okay, I gotta write that down. Bohong. Why can't I pronounce anything? Let's blame my mom. You know, I was born in Ireland and I lived in England and I went to Buffalo, New York, and it's like, put all that in a pot, stir it up, and already my mom can't pronounce shit either. And my sisters and I are the same way. It is so funny. All right, I swore a tiny bit. All right, you guys. I'll see you next Saturday, too. I'm going to be live next Saturday, and then that will be it for a little bit. But I might try and see if I can do a live when I'm in Lake Como. Wouldn't that be fun? All right. Goodbye. See you later. Have a good one.